Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world.
So this explainer is a little different. Think of it as a structural companion to Michael Pollan's famous book, Food Rules. The goal here isn't to give you diet advice. Instead, we're going to use his work as evidence, kind of like clues, to understand the much bigger system that dictates what we all eat.
All right, so let's get right into it. The starting point for all of this is a feeling that I bet you've had, one that Michael Pollan says is pretty much universal. Just this deep, nagging confusion about what we're actually supposed to be eating. Here's the thing, though. This confusion, it's not an accident. It's actually the outcome of a system that's designed with very specific goals in mind. And that leads us to a really critical question.
Well, the answer really starts to come into focus when you identify the larger structure at play. Pollan's work points us towards something we can call the nutritional industrial complex. And what is that? It's basically a system where food companies, marketers, the media, and even nutritional science itself actually profit from complexity and confusion, not from making things clear for public health.
So how does this complex work? Well, it all comes down to a core set of incentives that put profit, not nourishment, at the very top of the list.
And the main economic driver here is incredibly simple. The more you process any food, the more money you can make from it. It's a game of taking super cheap raw materials, think corn and soy, and spinning them into thousands of different high-margin products. These, edible food-like substances, as Pollan calls them.
And this is where it gets really fascinating, because that one core incentive, profit from processing, has all these ripple effects. The system is just built to constantly churn out new products, low-fat this or no high-fructose corn syrup that. It's designed to slice and dice nutritional science into flashy health claims you can slap on a box. And of course, these foods are engineered to be hyper-palatable, to just max out our cravings for salt, sugar, and fat. And then they're all backed by these huge marketing campaigns that real whole food could never, ever afford.
So you take all those incentives, and what do you get? You get a food environment that feels, intentionally difficult to navigate. It's like it's designed to be confusing.
To really get a handle on this environment, let's use a metaphor. Imagine that the modern supermarket isn't just a store. It's a maze, and it's been built by the food manufacturers themselves.
So what are the walls of this maze made of? Well, they're designed to guide our behavior, right? So the walls are things like health claims, which, if you notice, you only find on packaged, processed stuff. The walls are made of misleading labels like light or low fat, which often just means they've pumped it full of sugar instead. Even the very layout of the store, with all the processed food dominating those center aisles, that's part of the maze's architecture, funneling you right where they want you to go.
And this right here, this just brilliantly illustrates a key feature of the maze's design. Think about it. As Pollan points out, the truly healthiest foods in the store, the actual fruits and vegetables, they don't have health claims on them. They don't have the budget, and frankly, they don't need them. Their silence is actually a sign of their value.
Okay, so if we're all stuck in this maze, why does it keep going? Why doesn't it just collapse? The simple answer is it's a closed, self-reinforcing loop.
Think about the debates you hear all the time. We're encouraged to argue about the details. Is fat the enemy, or is it carbs? What about sugar? We're busy debating all that, while the underlying structure, the real question, goes completely unasked. We're asking which nutrient is the bad guy, while the system is just quietly asking, how can we make processed food even more profitable? And that, right there, that is the crisis in perception we're talking about. We're so busy arguing about the decor of the maze, the color of the walls, the fonts on the signs, that we completely miss the bigger picture. That we are in a maze, and it wasn't designed for our benefits.
And this whole thing creates a powerful feedback loop that just keeps going. Step 1. The industry creates new processed products with some novel health claim. Step 2. The media amplifies it, reporting on the latest nutrient war, which just adds to the confusion. Step 3. We, the consumers, try to adapt. We navigate the confusion by, you guessed it, buying the new and improved products. And finally, Step 4. The profits from those sales get poured right back into the system, funding more marketing, more reformulation, and making the maze's walls even stronger.
Okay, now let's zoom out for a second, because the impact of this maze, of this whole system, it extends way, way beyond the supermarket doors. So the Western diet, which is really the main thing this system produces, is directly linked to the explosion of what are called Western diseases. And the numbers Pollan cites are just staggering. This diet is linked to something like 80% of cardiovascular disease, almost all cases of type 2 diabetes, and over a third of all cancers. It's a huge deal. When you think about it, this creates a really direct and pretty scary line between the profitability of the food industry and our skyrocketing national healthcare costs. I mean, we're spending billions to treat the very chronic diseases that the system's output is helping to create.
And it goes even deeper. The entire structure is propped up by agricultural policies that basically subsidize cheap commodity crops, corn and soy, which, of course, are the main building blocks for all these processed foods. So you see, the problem isn't one nutrient or another. The problem is the system itself.
Understanding this structure provides the clarity that individual dietary debates often obscure. Crisis in Perception examines how systems shape belief and how better tools help us see clearly.
This project is free and publicly accessible. If you'd like to support the time, tools, and research behind Crisis in Perception, you can become a supporter on Patreon.
For a longer, audio-based analysis of this topic, see the deep dive linked in the description.
If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.